welcome to the Mindset RX podcast, a show for functional athletes who want to gain a champ's mindset. My name is Tom Foxley, and I am the founder and owner of Mindset RX. So, before we get into the show itself, let's quickly touch on one very important opportunity for you guys. If you are an athlete who wants to, let's say, transcend their current possibilities, and when you say a phrase like that, of course it comes out as kind of unicorns and rainbows and glitter and fairy dust and all that kind of stuff. Transcend your possibilities. And I kind of hate myself a little bit for saying that. But what I mean is, if you aren't currently where you want to be, if you feel like you've got your athletic anchor attached, something that I'm going to get into in a bit more detail today. If you feel like you've got this athletic anchor attached, then and you want to release it and take the next step, whether you are at the beginning of your CrossFit journey, whether you are kind of just looking to shed a few pounds or kind of just feel a bit healthier and happier through the lens or the means of CrossFit or whatever training you're looking at, or you're looking towards the CrossFit Games or similar, like to the pinnacle of your sport, then the Inner Athlete Performance Camp is something that's going to help you take off that anchor that you've got at the moment. And we're starting another session on, when is it? 29th of October. There we go. 29th of October. The brain did work at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. So that's not even early. But anyway, 29th of October, we're starting a new Inner Athlete Performance Camp. To gain your place, head to mindsetrx.com/coaching, and there'll be an application form there that you can join. Anyway, today's show is all about the athletic anchor, and it came about from the seminar that I was doing this weekend. So I went up to Imperial Bodies in kind of just outside Daventry in the UK, so Coventry, kind of fairly central in the UK. Got to drive through some beautiful countryside along the way, which was quite nice, and the M1. But anyway, let's not go down my travel plans and my travel journeys, and let's get to the point of it. The point of it is this recurring theme came up throughout the seminar, and whether I kind of talked about it or kept it in my mind, this was the general consensus, and not even general consensus. This was my main takeaway and summation of the podcast, which is the seminar. Sorry, which is this: if you feel like you can only get to a certain level, and then you are pulled back to maybe what feels like a default setting, then chances are it's your mindset that needs to change. Okay, and the reason being for this is, say our athletic performance kind of fluctuates between a 5 and a 7 out of 10. Okay, and we're going from 5 to 7 or 5 to 7. Like we do very well, and we kind of we grow as an athlete. We really hit our training, and we get up to like a 7 out of 10, whatever that is for you. But then a few weeks later, you get pulled back down to that 5. Like you kind of you lose a bit of momentum. Say some stuff outside life happens, you get pulled back down to that 5. And what you're doing is you're fluctuating between that 5 and the 7. The chances are that it's nothing physical that's stopping you getting there. Of course, at the end of the day, it is a physical result. But the chances are the thing that's creating that physical result is not. The chances are the thing that's creating that result is not a physical thing. It's a mental thing. It's a mindset thing. Now, it's easy for me to say this, but if you're getting pulled back down, it's because your mindset isn't growing alongside or in advance of your physical capacity. What's happening is your mindset is staying at like a 3. So you start to spread out to a 7. And then you get pulled back to that 3, and that's where we've got to realize that this isn't just something we can talk about but not actually do. Mindset isn't something that we can have a good intellectual understanding of but not internalize. Mindset is something that it's a 365 days a week. God, that's a long week. 365 days a year approach to mindset and approach to advancing it. It's something that we need to take steps towards on a daily basis, because success isn't what you do to become successful is not perform at your best on one day. The CrossFit Games aren't won across the 4 days of the competition or 5 days of the competition. The CrossFit Games are won in the 360 odd days leading up to that event. Okay, it's like, or let's put it this other way: your athletic success, your ability of where you are now, your kind of, whether you can snatch a certain weight or whatever your specific goal is, whatever your specific direction that you want to pursue is, it's not built on one day of hitting your goal or not hitting your goal. It's the year of effort beforehand, and maintaining that emotional and mental equilibrium throughout that preceding year is the only way that you can inevitably get success, because otherwise we'll play victim to these emotional wobbles, or we will listen to that mental state too much instead of getting on with the work that you should be doing. Mindset, and I've spoken about this before, mindset is not this case of positivity. It's not this case of like, oh, the world's going to be fine and everything will kind of flow smoothly because of it. Mindset is keeping mental and emotional equilibrium across a long period of time so that you can take the actions that best fit the goal that you want to take. And if your mindset is wobbling, if you have your lows and your highs, or if you are just low or are just high, you will not take the appropriate action. And only by keeping that in the middle will you take the appropriate action. So that's what mindset is. And when we talk about the athletic anchor, it's the idea that that anchor is essentially the fluctuations in your mindset. We have to release that anchor. And this is why my mentor Brian Grasso said this brilliant line: being successful is not about finding new ways to become successful. It's about releasing yourself from the reasons that you haven't been so far. And that is what we have to do. We have to release ourselves, because in our heads we're playing out the worst case scenarios. We're playing out doomsday in our head. Whether it's to do with training or not to do with training, it's still creating these emotional fluctuations. Or we're doing the exact opposite. We're going through the, oh, it'll be fine. Or what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? And then ending up overwhelmed and burnt out. And it's this that needs to change if we're ever going to get to where we want to be. If we're ever going to be finally happy and finally achieve the goals that we set, it's this that has to change. It's the mindset that has to change, because otherwise you'll keep going through the same loop and you won't break that pattern, and you won't inevitably become who you're capable of becoming. And I'm not going to go down the whole, you're made of stardust, you can achieve anything. But I am going to say you're capable of achieving far more than you are already. So if you enjoyed the show, please share it. Please kind of let some friends know, or just leave a 5-star review on Facebook, Instagram. I saw this amazing review the other day that really made me laugh, and I think it's only available on the iTunes side of it, which I don't know where this comment came from, but I think they were referencing the old name of the podcast, which is the Alpha Movement. When I was originally kind of like, where I started off with this was like helping men become real men, before I realized that to be a real man, it doesn't really require much other than not being a dick. But anyway, I think they're referencing that old kind of the old name of the podcast, because they said something along the lines of, we all know Alpha is just a cult and they're brainwashing us and some bullshit like that. So anyway, if you want to leave and cruelly left a 1-star review for the podcast. But anyway, if you want to kind of outweigh that or add your own cultish personality or cultish like tone on this, then absolutely you can. So head over to iTunes, leave 5-star review, and of course, if you want to go through the steps to release your athletic anchor, if you want to, with me over 10 weeks, take that athletic anchor off and actually take steps towards where you want to be and learn the skills and the tactics and the tools necessary to progress forever, then let's do that in the Inner Athlete Performance Camp. Head over to mindsetrx.com/coaching, or head over to mindsetrx.com, or find it on Facebook or wherever, and you can go through that step. And I'd love to show you on that progression, because it's it's an incredible process, and it truly is. So anyway, if you enjoyed the show, as I said, leave 5-star reviews or whatever you want to do. And most importantly, I just hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon.